state your question in the chat room so that I can ask Leanne, our speaker, when we're done. And also, I can hear it right now, make sure you mute your screens. I've done it. I think we've all done it. So just please, a quick reminder to, on the little left-hand side there, where there's a microphone button there, just hit mute so that we cannot hear what's going on in the background. I currently have a dog barking, and 5 minutes ago, I had to change the battery in my smoke alarm because it was going off. It's just one of those days. So that's just what happens. I was on a ladder less than 15 minutes ago. So just remember that mute button. All right. And any questions in the chat box? I'm going to get right to the introduction of our first speaker. Leanne Randolph has been appointed chair of the California Air Resources Board by Governor Gavin Newsom. Randolph has been a commissioner of the California Public Utilities Commission since 2015. He was Deputy Secretary and General Counsel of the California Natural Resources Agency from 2011 to 2014, and an attorney at Pillsbury, Winthrop, Shaw, Pittman from 2007 to 2011. She served as chair of the California Fair Political Practice Commission from 2003 to 2007, where she also served as a staff attorney from 1996 to 1997. Randolph also served as San Leandro City Attorney and was principal at Meyers Nave from 2000 to 2003, where she was an associate from 1997 to 2000. Without further ado, I'm going to introduce Leanne Randolph. Thank you very much. And remember to mute your screen. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. As my bio indicates, I've worked on sort of in all, not all, but many levels of government, local and state. A lot of different state agencies had a lot of different sort of regulatory roles. And this kind of conversation is the thing I like most about that role, which is basically, you know, talking to people, understanding sort of what we can accomplish, sort of the business sector and the government sector, and how we can work together to achieve sort of our shared goals. I mean, we all want a strong economy. We all want clean air, clean water. We all want to address our climate crisis and prevent the impacts of climate change. But as those impacts happen, kind of address them and work together. So I'm really pleased to talk with you all and learn about the Green Team building partnerships and talk about how we can meet our shared goals together. So I'll just mention a couple things about myself and my priorities at CARB. Of course, you know, it's the first change in leadership in 12 years, so I have big shoes to fill following Mary Nichols' role as the board chair, and I'm really excited to continue a lot of the great work that we've done. So we have a busy year coming up working on our upcoming scoping plan update, which sort of charts our strategy for achieving carbon neutrality by 2045. We've achieved our greenhouse gas emissions reduction targets largely due to changes in the energy sector. So my experience at the PUC sort of showed me that the energy sector, because it's you know, the number of players is a lot smaller, is easier to control, and it's easier to achieve the reductions that we need to see. But if we really want to continue on our path to carbon neutrality, we need to focus on transportation. We absolutely need to make progress on both the air quality impacts of transportation and the greenhouse gas emissions targets. So the governor's executive order is helping us drive that transportation work by giving us clear dates by which to transition to zero emission vehicles. And so we're doing a lot of interagency coordination with the Energy Commission and the governor's office and sort of, you know, all of the stakeholders that are involved in transportation to make sure we have the charging infrastructure we need and make sure we have the vehicles that we need. So one of our key roles is going to be developing the next generation of zero emission vehicle regulations. So for passenger cars, we're working on the Advanced Clean Cars 2 rulemaking, and that'll chart the path for light duty vehicles to 2035. And of course, we have a lot of goals around medium and heavy duty trucks and other vehicles. We've passed the first in the world advanced clean truck rule that requires manufacturers to transition from diesel to zero emission trucks starting in 2024, and to achieve 100% ZEV truck sales by 2045. And we're working on our advanced clean fleets regulation for medium and heavy duty truck and bus fleets, including that really critical last mile delivery and drayage truck market, and to get those to ZEV. And, you know, we have lots of other regulatory work around off-road engines, refrigerated trucks, commercial harbor craft, and so we'll continue to work on that. But incentives are going to play a key role alongside regulations. Consumers need a lot of help to purchase these vehicles to address affordability and equity concerns. And incentives for manufacturers and suppliers can really motivate the continued development of cleaner technologies and products. So programs like the HVIP for trucks and buses and the CORE and Carl Moyer programs are going to continue to play an important role in our strategy. And so we're really going to continue to lean into that work. And of course, all of this infrastructure capacity will create jobs. A recent study of the ZEV vehicle industry found 70,000 zero emission vehicle associated jobs in California. And electric vehicles were our largest single export in 2020. So we really want to see the benefits of the economic boom that our climate goals can really achieve. Of course, the other kind of key focus of mine over the coming years is going to be equity and making sure that all communities in California achieve the benefit of our clean energy and climate economy. California significantly reduced air pollution over the last 50 years, but nearly a third of Californians live in the over 400 California communities that have disproportionately dirty air. And this pollution burden is the result of a long history of you know, frankly, poor land use decisions, poverty, disinvestment. And so we really need to make sure racial equity and environmental justice are a key part of our priorities. One key for achieving that is AB 617, the Community Air Production Program. It allows us to tackle air pollution at the community scale and to center community voices and priorities in the partnerships between air districts, community-based organizations, businesses, local governments, and CARB. And I'm sure many of you are aware of this program as you have a AB 617 community in Southwest Stockton. And so CARB is really committed to working closely with the Valley Air District and the Stockton Community Steering Committee, and working with local residents, community-based organizations, and businesses as we identify these impacts to air quality. And the steering committee has evaluated emissions and prioritized how to direct incentive funding in its community emissions reduction program. That board has been that plan has been approved by the Air District Board and is now being reviewed by our Office of Community Air Protection in preparation for adoption by the CARB board. And that plan proposes investing over $32 million in emissions reduction incentives, along with a variety of other clean air projects. So we're looking forward to supporting those existing relationships and building new relationships. This kind of engagement is an essential aspect of successful implementation of AB 617. And so continuing to make that program as effective as possible is a top priority. As I mentioned, air quality is central, obviously, to CARB's mission, to our public health goals. And the regulations and incentives that I mentioned earlier aren't just for our climate goals, they're also critical for meeting our air quality standards and our public health and environmental justice goals. Transportation accounts for over 90% of diesel air pollution in California, and we know that frontline communities are disproportionately burdened by this due to their proximity to heavy diesel users like ports, rail yards, and freight corridors. So our hope is that our strategy around regulations and incentives will really make progress towards achieving those air quality goals. So looking forward to engaging with all of you in these efforts. I was really interested to hear all the great work that the Green Team and the California Green Business Network have been doing, and I'm happy to answer any questions or hear any thoughts you have about CARB and our work, because people tend to have a lot of thoughts about our role. So happy to hear whatever you want to share.
Thank you, Leanne. If anybody has a question, please, I don't see any yet in the chat box, but is there any questions for Leanne?
I just have a comment on congratulations for your new role. I mean, that just, your bio sounds wonderful, and you know, I'm sure you can fit into those shoes. So congratulations.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. It's been really interesting seeing all the different kind of regulatory roles that CARB has, because you sort of think of kind of the big picture vehicles and things like that. But, you know, just thinking about everything from lawn and garden equipment to fragrances to all sorts of things that, you know, create pollution that we need to address as part of our role, and the kind of close collaboration that's really necessary with our staff and the business community, right? Because so many of these have like really technical issues that we have to unpack and understand. And so I've really appreciated getting to know our folks and the expertise they have around dealing with a lot of these really complex technical issues.
Okay, a couple questions have come in. I'll read them right off the chat box. Thanks for being here, Chair Randolph. Appreciate your time today. My name is Davis Harper, and I'm the San Joaquin County organizer for a nonprofit called the Climate Center. The City of Stockton has recently conducted a feasibility study looking into starting a community choice aggregation program and is considering options moving forward. Can you comment, excuse me, can you comment on how CCA can help businesses in Stockton?
Yeah, that's a great question. So that's definitely right up my wheelhouse with my experience at the PUC. So I think one of the nice things about CCAs is that they frequently have very targeted local programs, right? I mean, they are kind of more sort of connected to the community in some ways. And so I think, you know, we're Stockton to go down that path as a business or a community member in Stockton. I would really want to start that dialogue early about kind of what are some of the creative incentive programs that a new CCA could come up with that would really be beneficial. Because, you know, there's many up and down the state, and they frequently are able to tailor interesting programs. Like, for instance, in Sonoma Clean Energy built an incentive program geared toward electrifying new housing being rebuilt after wildfires. So it was sort of an opportunity to provide funding to encourage folks who were rebuilding to go all electric. And so that's an example that was a very local need. It was a very specific need, and they were able to build that with their local community. So that's an opportunity I would see.
Fantastic. All right, I have a question from Anthony Presto. The report today that the CVRP funds will be exhausted soon. Is there an expectation on when those funds may be replenished?
That is a topic of much conversation right now. We had shifted our funds, the remaining funds, to sort of the low income portion of that program, and they went like that. There was a lot of interest on low and middle income customers in terms of acquiring new vehicles. And right now, the budget is focused more towards Clean Cars for All. Not sure exactly what's going to happen with the Clean Vehicle Rebate Program, but stay tuned. We'll see what's coming. There's a lot of talk, I will tell you. There's a lot of buzz about sort of what is going to come from the federal government in terms of funding in some of the the initiatives that the Biden administration is undertaking. And so I could tell you that from my perspective, I am trying to stay very closely engaged in that conversation, because to the extent that there is new funding available, I really want to make sure that our transportation programs are really supported, and the incentives that I was talking about earlier that are such a crucial piece of our overall strategy for all types of vehicles, that gets a lot of attention.
Chamber CEO Doug has his hand up.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chairman Randolph, again, thank you for being with us. I share the congratulations. And I have to go on another Zoom shortly, but I want to say we want to be your partner. The Green Team San Joaquin and Mr. Frank Farrell are leaders in this state, and reach out to us anytime you want to. We'll help in any way we can, and appreciate your hard work.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doug. And I love the hand. That's great. That's a very good, savvy internet tool there you used. Thank you very much.
Not bad for an old man that's about to retire. Okay, God bless you all. Be safe.
Very good, very good. Thank you, Doug. I have another question from Mark Wexler. Congrats and welcome. Any idea when the HVIP program will be officially launched for 2021?
I don't know. I would have to ask staff.
Okay, fair enough. Nancy McMillan from CBC Steel Buildings. Thanks for your time. What is the status of the program for zero emission forklifts?
Oh, I don't know, but we will get that information to you, because we have so many programs that it's hard to keep track.
Right.
Leanne, this is Abigail May. I'm happy to give a short update quickly.
Oh, thank you. She's rescuing me.
Hi, everybody. I'm the chair's interim senior advisor. And so this is a program that staff is working on, and they had a workshop last fall, and they're in the workshopping process. So you can feel free to reach out to staff for more information. And the timeline is that they expect it to come before the board in 2022. So that's a very general update, but that's where we're at with that.
Great. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Are there any other questions, either directly or through the chat? I don't see any more. Anthony wanted to clarify that CVRP stands for Clean Vehicle Rebate Program. Very good, Anthony. Any further questions for Leanne?
No.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. And I want to introduce someone real quick that wants to talk about the California Green Business Network. It's Sean Orgel-Olson. Sean?
Great. Thanks, Lyndon. And thanks for having me here today. Like you just mentioned, I'm Sean Orgel-Olson, Director of Marketing Performance Standards with the California Green Business Network. And we're really pleased to have partnered with CARB for almost a decade now, making a real difference with our programs that help small to medium-sized businesses implement sustainability practices, both saving them money and also helping them, of course, reduce their carbon footprint, other types of pollution as well. We now count over 4,000 businesses in the state that are currently certified green businesses. And a good number of those businesses joined our program thanks to 3 different CARB-sponsored federal EPA Region 9 grants that help fund our work. And those grants allowed us to support businesses in underserved and disadvantaged communities, including in the Central Valley, through our partnership with Greater Stockton Chamber of Commerce. And we continue to build on those efforts. We launched a new equity committee actually this past year, and we're looking at ways that we can really build equity within the network, including, kind of like you mentioned, Chair Randolph, the community-based organization angle as well. So we're really working on that and trying to do our best, because we had a realization that we want our business owners to look like the makeup of the state, and they weren't there yet. So we're continuing to work in that area. But today, we're really excited to recognize 3 newly certified green businesses here today. We have Haggerty Construction, 111 Web Design, and the Weberstown Mall administrative offices as well. So round of applause. That is really great. Congratulations on your achievement. We know that this has been a really tough year in numerous ways, but the COVID-19, made it really challenging for businesses, and it made it harder to get through the certification process as well. So really great work. We look forward to promoting your businesses as certified green businesses through our various promotion channels. And I think I'll hand the mic back over to Chair Randolph now for some final comments. But yeah, thanks again and congratulations.
Yeah, thanks, Sean. I just wanted to congratulate the newly certified businesses too. I mean, I think it's really important to recognize that you can have climate-friendly business practices and a strong bottom line, and that economic opportunity and a strong, healthy environment can coexist and really result in sort of what we want to see. We want to see a great environment and climate, and we want to see a strong economy. And those 2 things are by no means mutually exclusive. So I think this program is a great example of that. So super excited to congratulate the newly certified businesses.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it for your time.
Just a footnote on that, Lyndon. I told Joe Fleming, the executive director of the Green Business Network, that we're going to have at least 7 certifications this year, but no more than 30. So,
okay. Right.
And that's an inside that Sean knows what I'm talking about. But
Okay.
So if there's any businesses out there located here in Stockton or San Joaquin County, please reach out to me so we can get you green certified, or anywhere in the state. We got people from all over the state online today. So contact your local Green Business Network.
So thanks
Fantastic.
for having me, everyone. I'm gonna head off to my next screen that I have to be on.
Right. Thank you for attending. Thank you for speaking. We appreciate it.
Yeah, it's nice meeting you all. Bye.
Thank you, Judy.
I'm going to get to our second speaker today. Tom Beatty is the Senior Vice President from CIRCULUS. CIRCULUS is a Houston, Texas-based company focused on developing a natural presence in the plastics recycling industry, directly contributing to the improvement of domestic circularity of recycling plastics. CIRCULUS is scheduled to be operational in Riverbank by May 2021. Please welcome Tom Beatty.
Thank you, sir. Let me share my screen real quick. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Awesome. So yeah, I appreciate the brief introduction with CIRCULUS. I'm Tom Beatty. I've been in the recycling industry since 2007. Started with a small regional recycler in Texas, and went through a number of acquisitions, finally ending up with Waste Management as part of my lineage there. From there, within that time frame, I managed facilities, managed sales teams, and ultimately ended up as a market area president managing multiple recycling facilities with varying degrees of assets. From there, I went to Georgia Pacific and started as a commodity broker on the plastic side for Georgia Pacific, managing all of the West Coast, Southwest, and then part of the Southeast trading platforms there for Georgia Pacific's regarding plastics. So that's a little bit about me. Started with CIRCULUS about a year ago, and we've been rocking and rolling ever since. As was stated previously, we are focused on the domestic circularity regarding plastics, specifically LDPE and LLDPE. Those are your flexible grades of plastics. A lot of your overwrap, secondary packaging wrap around water bottles. LLDPE is the stretch wrap around pallets, boxes on pallets, a lot of that clear plastic. That's LL, linear low. Those are the commodities that we're really focused on. The team here, the executive team brings over 50 years of experience with experience from recology, experience from waste management, experience from Republic services, and then also, really outside of that with the paper mill side as well. And then there's also experience with the glass recycling industry. So we kind of all come together. We've seen a real need with the flexible side of the business when it comes to plastics. And that's kind of what brought us all together. There was a vision here to really take recycling to another level, not only in terms of what we were taking in, a very hard to recycle commodity, a flexible recycling commodity, but also in terms of quality of living for our employees and safety as kind of the first and foremost on our radar there. And you can see a couple of those pictures are actually of the install there at the facility off of Claus Road in Riverbank. What we're doing is we're taking in those hard to recycle commodities. Some of the post-commercial flexible films have been recycled for a number of years, for a long time. It's really what we're focused on is the post-consumer and the MRF bales, those dirty MRF bales that really don't have a domestic home for them. A lot of that material was going overseas into export markets. And what we're doing is we're keeping it domestic, and we're trying to, with the footprint that you'll see in the next slide, we're really trying to keep it local. Not only local on the supply side, but local on the finished goods side as well. You can see the starting bale. That's a fairly clean B grade post-consumer bale. We'll flake it, we'll wash it, we'll dry it, we'll turn it into resin, and then there's also a step to reduce odor. So it can be returned into the highest and best use, which is returning that to a consumer-facing good. It's not putting it into a composite lumber type material that basically is no longer recyclable after it's been put into a composite lumber material. And so it's kind of a neat process. It's unique. There's probably only one other facility like this in the world currently, and that's over in Eastern Europe, recycling MRF grade, very dirty MRF grade film. So we're very confident in what we're doing here. That's going to really make a mark to close the loop.
Okay, Tom, I got a quick question for you.
Here in about a month, we actually start commissioning the line now, kind of centering the belts, making sure the motor's turned on and are wired correctly, running the right way. And, the facility's capability is LD, LLD focused. But we'll be processing some HD and some PP grades as well when it comes to the plastics, and that's the high density and the polypropylene polyethylene. We have a goal to develop 10 to 12 facilities across the U.S. in the next 5 years. Very robust goal, and it'll make a big dent in the domestic circular economy. Our first location, kind of going to the theme that the first speaker was talking about, is going green, and green through and through. Our forklifts are green. They are electric. It's kind of neat when you kind of take that point of view, and it flows through the entire operation. We are 100% green hydroelectric power. We are a public benefits LLC, which is a little different than a typical LLC. We will be going for a B Corp status once we're operational. The building is a 76, it's actually a little older than that now, year-old building. And, we're looking to be operational next month. The overall throughput capacity of that first facility is about 44 million pounds of resin produced annually. To put it in terms that everyone kind of wrap their head around, because plastic people like to get paid in by the pound, and they typically articulate things by the pound. But in terms of inbound, that's about 100 loads of plastic material that was typically going to the landfill, export, or just not into good applications that are coming into our facility on a monthly basis. So pretty significant impact. And that's pretty much my presentation. And I'll open it up for some brief questions, and I'll punch my email in to the chat box in the side. That if anyone's got some deep dive questions that they want to dive a little deeper into, I'll put my email there to communicate accordingly.
Okay, any questions for Tom? Frank has his hand up.
Just a quick question, Tom, regarding your suppliers of your feedstock. Are you aggressively looking in the region for that, or what's your reach on that?
Yeah, part of the reason for the 10 to 12 facilities is not that we couldn't build a big mega facility in a central location and bring it all in. It's really to kind of centralize, because there's a part of that in-feed material that is a yield loss. Basically, it doesn't meet spec, or it's non-conforming material. And so we don't want to move that material across the country. And so part of the plan here is to have localized supply and localized customers on the finished goods side.
Thank you.
Oop, my screen went away there for a second. Okay. Any other questions for Tom?
Hey, Tom, I got one more.
Sure, go ahead.
Frank.
One more question. While I have your attention, how important is it for government procurement of recycled content products to you as a processor?
I guess one more time on that question.
The government procurement of recycled content products. For example,
the government procurement,
with at least 50%, 75% recycled content.
Yeah, California has some of that legislation already on the books, and it's been a big driver for the industry in California. There is a lot of trash bags and other items like that, flexibles that have recycled content because of that initiative that California has led. As part of the reason why also we're in California, being our first facility, is some of those initiatives. In terms of overall consumption, government's consumption of those materials, it's not a big driver. In terms of overall opportunity, yes, it helps, but it doesn't move the needle as much as consumer brand owners.
Okay.
Does that answer your question, sir?
Yes, it does.
Any more questions for Mr. Beatty? All right, I don't see anything in the chat room, so I will say thank you very much, Tom. We appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
And I will turn it over to Frank Farrell
Okay, it just
for the
very quick,
submitting reports or anything else.
absolutely. First, I'm going to jump out of line. We got a couple of our recently certified green businesses online. Eric Vaughn. Eric, I'm going to put you on the spot again. If you want to say a few words, how was the process?
The process was pretty simple to go through. Frank, he keeps you on task. So once you show any interest in going green, he's going to continue to push you down that road. So he's fantastic to work for. But the process was super simple. It was not very difficult. We learned a few things as we were going through, which, we thought we were, pretty green from the beginning, and we were, but there were some things that we learned that we were, had to adjust and change as we kind of went through that process. So it was it's a good thing to do. So thank you.
Outstanding. Hey, is Mike Hernandez, are you on the line? Okay, Mike Hernandez with the Weberstown Mall, and he said, hey, they learned a lot as well. And they did the administrative offices first. Now they're going to get every single tenant at the mall to get certified, which is great. He said, just like you said, it was a great thing to go through. The only thing was me pestering him. It was I think how he put it. It's not really pestering. It's just motivating you.
Right. No, you were extremely
with a cattle prod.
That's sure.
Hey, now.
Well, yeah, and you were extremely helpful. And running a business is tough. It's you have so many things and people pulling you in so many directions. And so it's nice that we wanted to be certified. And if I would have went through my own pace of getting certified, I probably wouldn't have done it till 2022 by the time I finished all those steps. So Frank was there just kind of helping us along and pushing us along the way to, keep reminding us to, hey, just, do this next step and let's do this next step. And was just a valuable resource in us getting it done. So, man, I appreciate it.
But we appreciate you. You're a valued member of the Greater Stockton Chamber of Commerce. Thank you. And we're all in this kind of together. So anything we can do to help you reduce your costs, we're going to pursue it. So
right.
All right. Thank you. I don't see Haggerty online either, but it's similar remarks, I should say. Mary Jo, are you online?
I am. I had to unmute.
No worries.
So I'm assuming it's time for an update from an EHS perspective.
Yes, ma'am, if you have one.
I think the only key updates is the COVID changes within the area as we think about the safety aspects and seeing our county go down out of the purple tier to the red. Which is very exciting. I think there's some things that we are hoping to see some changes on soon and hoping to partner with RTD and others to think about our transportation requirements. Where the airlines have actually been able to increase their capacities, we've not been able to do this in public transportation yet. So really hoping to see some partnerships there so we can look at improvements for the future. Did want to make sure everybody knew that the Johnson & Johnson vaccine has been on pause just in the past few days because of some issues. I think it will be a short pause, but it may be something if you're operating some vaccine clinics that we need to be mindful of. Just from another safety perspective, those who've not heard, our California OSHA director has now been proposed to be the Assistant Secretary of Labor for federal OSHA. So that may be something that we will be looking at some changes here locally pretty soon if that goes through. Obviously, we have to wait until Doug Parker is brought up for the voting actions there, but just thought I'd at least raise the visibility for those who might be interested. That's all.
Thank you.
Outstanding. Well, let me give a couple of more updates here. The Green Business Certification we just went over, the Recycling Market Development Zone program. We're obviously aggressively trying to find businesses to accept recycled content plastic resins from Mr. Beatty. So here locally, so we have a lot of extruders here in the area, especially up in Lodi as well, that could potentially use your product. So let us know if we can do anything for you, Tom. Okay. We had our Rexpo, the last straw. I'd like to give a brief recap. We had 102 people on it from across the nation. Actually, was on the call with the new director of Cal Recycle, Rachel Wagner, who I have a follow-up call with, Mr. Chair, if you wanted to be on that as well on the 21st to kind of talk how we can continue to collaborate and bridge the differences that may be there. We also are working on a Business Academy for Regulatory Compliance, or a BARC, for our June Green Team meeting. And BARC is working with the local CUPAs, which is the Certified Unified Public Agencies. Basically, the people go in and fine you all the time if you have some hazardous waste violations. So we're going to be working with them, and also our partners with the Air Pollution Control District. Thank you, Anthony, for being here today. We're tentatively scheduled for June 16th on that. That's basically it right now. We've been outreaching with our red team. I know we have a green team, but we also have a red team, which is our retention expansion directive. Getting all the positives and negatives about doing business in Stockton and San Joaquin counties, our economic development arm of the chamber. And so our team has met with about 5 businesses so far, and we're starting to see a few trends out there about some of the challenges that are happening in our community. And so we'll be addressing those, as I'll be bringing them to the Green Team or to our Government Relations Council or whomever it should go to. So with that, sir, that is my brief but important remarks.
They're always important. They're always important. Before we wrap up our meeting, does anybody have any what we like to say 60-second commercials? Just a quick statement, something you're interested in, and
put on our radar
like
screen.
To share. I have. Pardon, Frank?
Put it on our radar screen.
Put it on our radar screen. Tom Beatty has a statement.
Yeah, I'd like to give a shout out to our neighbors there in Riverbank, and that's Repsco. I believe George Isaacs is on the call. George, and the team there at Repsco has done a very good job introducing us into the community. They've been outstanding neighbors and have gone above and beyond any reasonableness that would be expected as a neighbor. And I just want to say thank you to Repsco for being a great neighbor, introducing us to the Green Team here. Frank, you're a hard charger, and I appreciate your tenacity, and keep up the good work.
Thank you. Susan.
Thank you. I just want to say hello to everybody and remind Cal Water customers that I am available to connect with you on water saving ideas, potentially conservation programs and incentives. And I'm going to personally look into a little bit more on the Cal Green Business Network, because I'm sure there's a water saving component to your certifications, right, Frank?
Yep.
So yeah, that'd be awesome. And I put my email in the chat. If anybody wants to connect with me, I'd love to talk about ways we can save water. So thank you.
Thank you, Susan. Appreciate it.
That's what we do it.
George from Repsco.
From Repsco, yeah. Hi guys. First of all, I want to apologize. I was a few minutes late, but it was good to hear everyone, and I want to thank Tom for the kind words. It's been a great relationship, and we look forward to partnering up here, and I think we're going to have some good synergy here at the Riverbank location with our companies. And so I'll put my information in the chat box as well. Our role is producing plastic slip sheets that are recyclables. So we close the loop as well when it comes to that sustainability discussion. So we're excited to be part of the Green Team as always. And I want to thank you guys again.
Thank you, George. Stephanie Maynard. Stephanie, please unmute.
All right, we're just going to do this with
There you go.
headphones then. There we go. All right, so apologize for that. New
That's okay.
headset, still working out the kinks. But I am from SJ Cog and Dibs, and I just wanted to briefly give a little bit of a plug to this year's Bike Month. Obviously, Bike Month and Bike Month events have been somewhat of a unique challenge this year and the past because of COVID. But we are still doing it, and we do this year especially, we want to lean in as much as we can on the community aspect of it in lieu of not having in-person events like we used to. And so in that regard, we are putting on a Bike Month bingo. So we're distributing out bingo cards for our cyclists and walkers for just a month of sort of mini challenge. So these are things like, you know, as simple as going to the mailbox for one challenge, or biking for 5 miles, or going to the coffee shop, or things like that. Things that are bite-sized, easier to digest, and more goal-focused, other than, okay, well, while you're doing your own thing, go bike out for a month or so. So we are really trying to lean into that. That kind of a game feeling. And we have a variety of prizes for that, including for the first time ever, we are able to do an early bird special. So the first, I believe it's 3, I want to say, per county, people who bike or walk during Bike Month will receive a $5 Starbucks gift card. This is something we weren't able to do before. And taking advantage of the virtual environment allows us to do fun things like that. So that is coming up. We're very excited about it. If you want more information, we do have flyers and the actual bingo card, and my contact info is in the chat. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie. Anthony.
Hey, don't want to forget about me. Hey, I just wanted to let everybody know, and I realize it's not so much of an agriculture-oriented group, but for those of you who may have any association with ag, or know somebody close to you who is, you know, one of the things that's really been a big deal in the San Joaquin Valley for quite a few years is agricultural burning, and the attempt to phase out agricultural burning. It creates a lot of in many cases, unnecessary emissions that we've been trying to deal with, and work closely with growers and the ag community on finding alternatives that they can turn to when, you know, other things other than burning might not be economically feasible. And now the state law is that it needs to be nearly completely eliminated by January 1st of 2025, and the Air District is trying to help farmers as much as possible to make that transition with the Alternative to Agricultural Open Burning incentive program that will provide farmers in the San Joaquin Valley as much as $600 per acre to chip that ag material and put it back into the land instead of burning it. And there's a limit of as much as $60,000 per year that is available to them in order to do that. So I would encourage you know, anybody who has a farm where they need to get rid of that ag material to apply at the Air District. Go to valleyair.org and get more information on that.
Thank you, Mr. Presto.
You bet.
Before we wrap it up, is there anybody else that has a quick comment? Do we lose Frank too? Might have. All right, well, I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you very much for attending this Green Team meeting, and we look for the emails for next month's event. And thank you for attending, and have a lovely rest of the day.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.